All right, everyone, welcome into episode number 10. Mike, we made double digits here on the Hooley Brothers podcast. How you doing tonight, Mike?
Not bad. Didn't give up yet.
No, we're still here.
We're still
Again,
here.
made it, yeah, made it to double digits. So again, thanks everyone who has listened. So again, the start of this, again, given when we started kind of mid-January, been very football centric. We're still going to cover some tonight, but I think we're going to pivot a little bit this way, or at least how tonight goes. We're going to start with some NBA action. As we're speaking now, Celtics about to go into the half here against the Hawks. Jason Tatum having a good first half. So I kind of want to lead with the Celtics because I don't think I didn't fully get to the low point as we were recording during their game on Sunday rather against the Wizards, and I think that was really the low point of the season so far.
Yeah, especially after kind of a not like pathetic showing. I get it was a back to back from Thursday to Friday, so you didn't have Kemba on Friday night. But the Pistons, you can't lose them twice in 1 year. Like you can get a mulligan against a bad team. So you kind of a really, really bad showing on Friday night. Then you go play a matinee in Washington. I think the last time they played, you put up like 130 points against them because they're Washington's going to put up points, but they're not going to stop you. And they come out pathetically. And they only have like, I think they finished with 90 points, but that was like a 10-0 run to end the game with like Taco
and
Carson Edwards hitting shots.
If I remember right, they scored 90. I think Kemba and Brown both had 25 apiece. So it just showed you it was kind of a two-man show there. Tatum only had 6 points. One of the worst games he's had in a long time. Probably have to go back to his rookie year to find a number that low. But yeah, real low point that took them to 13-13 on the season. So 500 ball. And again, my whole thing here is you could spin this two ways, right? It's think of how close they are to the bottom if they're 13-13, but also the Eastern Conference isn't exactly, no one's running away with it right now. Philly's on top. They have double digit losses. Also with all these COVID cancellations, the Celtics are a few games behind as far as games played. So if they can get these games down and get wins under their belt, they're not far back in the loss column. I believe they're maybe a couple games out of, I think maybe one game in the loss column out of second place right now.
Yeah, I think maybe two with the comeback that the Nets had last night against the Suns. So I think it might be two from second, but I mean Philly's clearly in first, and then I think it's Nets two.
No, it's one.
3. Oh, okay.
That's one. 14-13 in the Nets.
I think we're getting greedy saying only behind Milwaukee one game. I thought that they were on the same level as Milwaukee going into the tip off last night. So
yeah, Milwaukee just has 2 less wins. So and this is kind of tying together. I want to leave the Celtics and get into some of the East standings, but they did bounce back a little last night. I do have to say, again, I'm not going to overreact too much on that. There's still only one game above 500. Again, leading the Hawks at the half right now. But what I saw last night and what I'm starting to see, I think we saw it in the Washington game, but really last night is the emergence of Aaron Nesmith. I think a lot of people, including myself, have been wondering where he's been all season. Again, he's the number 14th pick. We've been seeing a lot more Pritchard, who's drafted in the 20s. It just seems strange to be seeing a lot more of him than Nesmith, and now we're actually starting to see him in action. And again, I think you still have to make some moves at the deadline if you're going to compete. I'm not saying Aaron Nesmith's the guy, but him getting in these games and actually making an impact is going to be important for this team going forward.
Yeah, when you draft a guy at the end of the lottery, you got to give him a chance, especially if the team's struggling on the bench. Like, you can't keep on running out. Like, I know they're kind of different positions, but the same old, like, going small with Waters and Edwards. I know they've been here an extra year, but they're a late second round or mid to late second round. So like you got to take your chance with your lottery pick. So it was good to see, especially in that low point of a game on Sunday, he was able to get in and play 20 plus minutes after a couple straight DNPs.
Yeah.
But I think the big part of that problem on Sunday was the lack of ball movement. I'm surprised they even had 14 assists. And I think most of that came at the end of the game. Like Waters had 2, Williams had 1, Robert Williams had another. It seemed like it was a lot of just ISO ball. Like Jaylen Brown, 5 turnovers, 0 assists. Kemba Walker, 5 turnovers, 2 assists. And like Tatum led the team with 4, and he seemed pretty putrid the entire game. So
yeah, just absolutely sluggish. I think that's what we were seeing. It seemed like a lack of effort from the defensive end. Like you said, getting sloppy with the ball, not moving the ball. And then I think we saw a much better effort last night. Granted, Denver, I don't know what they had after their like their second best player last night. There's kind of a huge drop off. I know they have a lot of injuries at the moment, but
Yeah,
Jokic ate them up.
yeah, because I
I
believe
got nothing for him.
Porter played, but he was a shell himself.
He was
I
not
think
good.
he finished 0 for 8.
Yeah, he
And
wasn't good.
JaMychal Green, their new acquisition from the Clippers, was in the starting lineup, but I think he maybe comes off the bench, and then Campazzo starting. So
Yeah, exactly. I think they said he was Argentinian. I thought he was Italian or something with that last name. But anyway, yeah, I thought JaMychal Green actually played a good game on the boards at least. It seemed like he was kind of keeping a lot of possessions alive with the offensive rebounds. But yeah, they're lucky that they didn't have a deeper effort out of the Nuggets last night because, like I said, Jokic ate. He had his, but they did do a good job containing him in the fourth. He got up to about, I think, 39 at the end of 3. And then he only finished the game with 43. I thought he was for sure headed for 50 at point, or at least the high 40s. And they were able to somewhat contain him. One thing that I actually, tweeted this out last night is there was one period of time where Jokic was posted up on Peyton Pritchard and someone took a 3 on their team.
it was
I don't know how that happens.
It was Marcus Howard, the rookie out
Oh,
of
from
Marquette.
yeah, okay.
So I was like,
I couldn't believe it. I was like,
I couldn't. Yeah, I was like, who's that guy? And I was like, who's this? Like number. I think it was 00.
Yeah. Is he 00? Okay.
Yeah, I looked her up. So I was like, what is he doing out there? Like, who is that guy? Like, he kind of looks familiar. And yeah, it's Marcus Howard. And like the fact that he was on the team, and I was like, oh, like I feel like he's like their Trey Waters, and he seemed like their second guy off the bench outside of probably 8th behind outside of Hardison and Hampton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're definitely a little hamstrung, a little short. They had the big guys, but they kind of had nothing outside that. So I'm not trying to overreact too much to the rematch of conference losers in last year's finals. I mean, last year's conference finals, but again, I think you came off the bench. Even just looking at plus minus, you had Aaron Nesmith as a plus 20 last night, Peyton Pritchard as a plus 19, Robert Williams as a plus 12. So you definitely saw better action off the bench. I mean, going back to the assist turnover ratio, it was 26 to 20 assists to turnovers. I'm surprised they had that many turnovers, but I feel like, especially in that
I remember that they did a lot of turnovers.
They went on a couple runs where I felt like the ball movement was the key to their success, because I feel like anytime I'd see the lead go from like 2 to 9, it would be hustle plays from Pritchard or good ball movement with like even Nesmith like getting the ball and people closing out at him, and he kind of taking a couple drives in and kicking it out to Brown for him to step into a 3 because he was pretty automatic from 3 last night. So I think their killers were just on offense that let kind of the Nuggets back in the game, or when Tatum and Walker kind of like dribbled the air out of the ball.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with the turnovers. You say it was 20. I feel like it was probably like a few pockets of 5 or 6, like that just happened like back to back to back. Yeah. So it did kind of, like I said, let the Nuggets back into the game a few times. But hey, a win's a win against a team with 2 all-stars on it, I'm assuming, or at least bubble all-stars from last year, if you want to go there. But again, two top-tier talents in the league, and again, you close that out. And anytime there was a run, and I think they tied it maybe once, but other than that, anytime the league got shrunk to like 2 or so, they kind of went back swinging the other way, as you're mentioning, kind of from 2 back up to closer to double digits. So they were able to close it out 112-99. And then now, I mean, they're in again second night of a back-to-back tonight against Atlanta. Also have them on Friday night, I believe. And then again next week. So there's 3 times in 8 days with the Hawks. That's team. I think at worst, absolute worst, you win 2 out of 3 of those. I think you might even have to win all 3.
I think you got to win all 3, especially with the first 2 being in Boston.
Yeah,
I mean, because I feel like sometimes it does get weird down in Atlanta when the Celtics go down there. I don't know,
the highlight factory.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of those mid 2010 games with the Isaiah Thomas led Celtics and that playoff series where we lost 4-2 to them. So I don't know. I feel like things can get weird down there. So I think we especially need to be going there 2-0.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a game or 2 in between. I think we're going to play the Pelicans that are looking pretty good lately, and the Mavericks that are also looking good lately. So I think we need to take care of the Hawks games.
Yes, and I am a little scarred from the highlight factory, but Mike, we have breaking news in the podcast right now. I just got an ESPN alert. Fernando Tatis Jr. agrees to a 14-year, $340 million contract extension from the Padres.
Woo.
That would be I mean, we've had a few, I think, minor things come up over on the podcast, but that has to be the best breaking news we've broken in our 10 episodes so far. And that one's going to be tough to top.
Yeah, I haven't seen any comments. I think the Pirates got off light. The Padres, sorry.
Yeah. Oh my God. So I mean, out here I'm thinking we don't have much for MLB. We're gonna get into the projected Orioles playoff chances a little bit later on, and a minor Sox trade. But we might have to pivot right here real quick. And um, yeah, I mean, the face of the league, I'd say right now, one of my favorite guys in the league right now, Fernando Tatis Jr. And I think this is the longest contract we've seen, right? I mean, we've seen 12, 13, and then this is the first
Yeah,
14
Harper is
I've ever seen.
13. A-Rod was probably what, like 12, if that.
I think he was 10, and then there was that opt out, and then it was another. I don't think
I don't think Pujols was 14 either.
I think he was 10 as well.
Yeah. So I think this
Or
might be the
something.
most years you've ever seen.
Yeah.
What's the AAV on that? I got some quick math on you.
That actually isn't. Yeah, it's not crazy. It's got to be what, like 25, maybe, like, because 25 would take you
Yeah, I wonder if
to.
there's some 3. Okay.
It's like a little under 25, actually. I think doing quick math in my head because
24.28.
Yeah. Okay, not bad. 20. If it was 350, yeah, then it would be. So yeah, I mean, that's a long-term investment. You got your guy.
I mean, I'm guessing there's definitely some opt-outs in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
yeah,
I gotta like the end on both sides. The Padres are never afraid to pay people and go all in.
No, putting their money where their mouth is.
They signed Eric Hosmer, even a couple failed attempts when they traded for Kimbrel back in the day.
Machado.
They signed Machado, so they're definitely going.
That's your core, that's your core for the next at least 5 years. With the left side of your infield set for the next 5-7 years, with Machado and Tatis. So.
And yeah, usually people don't like when they you even though you are making more in the first couple, people hate when you give up your ARB years to because usually at the end of the day you're gonna get paid, get that one big deal after. So when you kind of shortchange yourself, because you definitely seen it with Ozzy Albies. Like I think he makes like 7 years, 35 million, and I get you're making 5 mil compared to your 10, but when you could have been betting on yourself, you could have been making like 25. But wow, this is
but I know I'm a little thrown off right now. I'm trying to go to Twitter to see some reaction right now, but no, just again,
as the folks at Starry Nine say, bread it up.
Say what?
Bread it up.
Just give that. Or I'm thinking of the that little clip that they play sometimes. Just the coach.
Yeah.
Pay me my money. So Fernando Tatis Jr. getting paid. And like you said, it's one of those things where, maybe you want to hit the market at 28, 29 or something and get that last big deal. But if you get a 14-year deal now, and maybe the AV is not great, but $340 million is a lot of money. And like you said, maybe there's opt-outs in there. I haven't had a chance to look at the details yet, but.
Yeah, people are, because of just the AAV, Harrison Barnes money, seeing those jokes. But hey, 340 million is anything I can ever sniff.
It's insane. So, because because I'm almost wait, Trout got one less year, but 90 million more or something like that.
Well, even just I know I mentioned the Albies deal. I know he's not on the same level. He makes $945, but when you look at a guy you would definitely put on the same level as Tatis is Ronald Acuna. He got 10 years, 124.
Yeah, that was the Braves. I don't know who's running the show over there, but they did a great job in comparison to both those guys' agents.
Yeah, so
and maybe I guess it surprises me a little bit more with Tatis because he obviously came. His dad made a lot of money in the MLB, so he kind of comes from maybe a different background than the other guys. But sometimes maybe depending on what your background is, if your family kind of was either middle class or maybe a little bit on the lower end of that, you see
you're willing
a guaranteed deal in front of you. Yeah,
you're willing to give up those RB years and betting on yourself just to make a $10 million a year. Who can? It's hard to say no to that. Because you can look at someone else being like, oh come on, just make your 2 years while your team has control, and if your shoulder gives out when you're done. You ruin your chance.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing with baseball. You can only you have one shot.
Yeah, exactly. And we've seen it. I mean, maybe not so much in baseball as other sports, but I'm going to go way back in this just because I can't think of any off the top of my head. But think about a guy like Tony C, right? 23 years old, takes pitch to the eye. If you're still making your rookie contract at that point, you never recover. You're not. All that money's gone. So you catch someone in their low 20s, and you might think you're invincible, but anything can happen. So you get a deal like this, and I don't know. I definitely see both sides of it, but I'm never going to fault someone for taking 340 up front like
Yeah,
that.
or even just trying to think like the other side, like after 2018, like who knows? Like maybe like the Sox try to give like Benintendi sort of like a deal, like maybe closer to the Albies level.
Right.
So now like he's gonna trade away for uh French's mustard. So
Right, exactly. And that's its own story there.
Mhm.
But yeah, because then you go back to Mookie too, a guy who wanted to hit the market at 27, 28 years old.
Mhm.
So that's kind of what he chose, and it obviously paid off for him. But say he tweaked his knee or something, or anything down the line, and he never fully recovered. I mean, he probably would have gotten a pretty good deal, but there is the risk there, and obviously these are kind of the two sides of it. The guy like Mookie, and then now seeing the Tatis Jr. deal here. So yeah, again, we had to do a little bit of a pivot there, and I think we'll have a lot more going forward. But I think that's huge news, and I'm very, very excited. I hope the NL West is just the Wild West for the next 10, 15 years now with the Dodgers on court with Bellinger and Betts and all those guys. Now you got Machado and Tatis Jr. kind of shoring up, and hopefully have a great rivalry now in Southern California.
Maybe I should get that jersey because I'm cursed with the Red Sox.
The Benintendi.
Yeah.
It's tough. I'm glad I never pulled the trigger. I thought about getting a Mookie one. Obviously, I mean, I'm still probably rocking out a spite. Actually, no, I almost went Xander. That Xander would have been a good one. I'd probably still have that. But yeah, Tatis, he's great. He's the most electric player in the game right now. Baseball obviously has a lot of problems as far as if it's dying, whatever you have, whatever you kind of go with there. And Tatis Jr. is the guy to try to right the ship there because he's just absolutely electric. So great. That was fantastic. I'm glad we had a moment like that. I hope this happens more on our podcast. I love. I just got that ESPN alert. I love those push notifications there. Otherwise, I probably would have ended the podcast and then seen it right away and been mad at ourselves. So
yeah, you usually get it from Bleacher Report. I'm surprised they haven't sent me anything on. Yeah. That's how I've gotten like a couple of smaller updates. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. So while we're here, and we'll just kind of wrap up MLB. Again, I kind of teased a little bit. Sox made a trade today. I think they got the number 13 prospect from the Rays system. So nothing major there, but some news. And then I don't know if you had anything to add there, Mike.
Yeah, well, it was basically when we signed the reliever from Japan. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce his name.
Right.
I'm actually kind of excited about him. He could do something. Yeah. We had a shift, and then I think we made one of their, maybe the Marvin Gonzalez deal. We had to shift a couple guys off the 40-man roster, and I believe that was Mazza and Springs. So it was either
trade them or
trade them or get it. And I think Heim knows the Rays system well, and I think I saw at halftime during the C's game it was the 13th best prospect. So
yeah,
I mean,
listening. I just said that, Mike.
Sorry, I was too busy trying to.
There's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, I was trying to get some takes on Tatis. Like I saw what he was getting. He's only making like after taxes 170 million.
Are you serious? California, man.
Yeah, so someone said that, so I was kind of doing the math on that when you started talking about the Red Sox. So
yeah, no, that's fine. I made a mistake earlier too. I think I said the Celtics were leading at halftime. I think I read the score backwards. So
yeah, I thought I heard that wrong, and I didn't want to correct you because I feel like I misheard you.
No, that's fine. Feel free to correct me if I ever get anything wrong. But yeah, I think I just saw the score and then I don't know, got those mixed up. But the taxes, that's actually brutal. I forgot about that with that's a lot of the A-Rod deal with the Rangers was probably a lot more. I got a lot more money there, but good for Tatis either way. Still 170, a lot of money, but 340 obviously pre-tax. Just an insane deal. So, but then one more thing. Again, we're going to wrap up with some MLB, but since we kind of had this pivot here, thoughts on I don't know if it was still the baseball prospectus thing or something else. Giving the Orioles a 0.0% chance of making the playoffs. Granted, that's probably true, but that's a little insane that there wasn't a fraction on there. It's like, well, maybe 9 guys have career years on their team, and all these other teams have COVID. I don't know. Just like there's a tiny chance that they could. I don't know.
For like a second there, like I know it was a 60-game season, like they're looking better than the Red Sox at a certain point last year. So anything could happen.
Yeah, I mean they're not going to, but like I mean, giving it 100% chance to miss is a little crazy. I thought that was a little funny.
The Detroit Tigers have 2, the Rangers have 0.8. I think the worst. I mean, I think the worst team in baseball either the
Well,
Rockies or
clearly the Orioles.
the Rockies or the Pirates, and they both had .1 and .4 respectively. Like,
That's all we're saying. That's all I'm saying. Here. Give me a decimal there on the percentage. But I thought that was a little funny, so I wanted to call that out.
and I think
Um,
they did do a troll job at it. They said, "Okay, everyone, we heard your feedback on our playoff odds and decided to make some tweaks to the math that should leave everyone happy." And it changed it to every single team having a 100% chance to get in the playoffs, except for the Orioles.
man, well, that's just not accurate. Um, yeah. So just want to throw a little tidbit in there. I don't even remember where I left off with the Celtics. They're currently losing 67-60 in the third quarter here. They got to right the ship, or else we're gonna end up right back where we were Sunday.
Yeah, I think we were saying with. I think I was going in with the schedule coming up with the 3 games against the Hawks,
Yeah.
and then it's two against them at home, and then we go to, I believe, New Orleans and Dallas.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
that's what it was.
so I think we need to take care of these Hawks.
Yeah, one guy I was gonna maybe not call out because he's still fantastic, but someone who's been struggling was Tatum, but he's on it tonight. He's got 17 points, so he seems to be leading the way for the Celtics. So I know we brought up COVID the other day. I don't know how much of that's again legit. I think it hits everyone different. So that could very well be the case, but he's a guy that I mean the Celtics don't really have the depth like we talked about. It's almost like him and Jalen have to be on every single night. Going back to I know we kind of mentioned it on the last episode, but with Kemba, he seems to be turning a corner a little bit, at least as far as his shooting percentage goes. I think he still has a way to go till he gets to the form we saw about a year ago now. But again, if the Celtics are going to go anywhere, he has to become a very viable third option. I think score somewhere between 17 and 20 points a game to really have this team have a chance of going anywhere.
Sorry, very much agree.
Oh, no, that's good. If you had anything to
add. I had dinner right before this, so kind of got a little choked up for a sec. But yeah, I definitely say he's definitely looked slightly better the last couple of days. Like even just like dribbling in the backcourt. Like I think I saw him break a press a couple of times last night, and he made a couple of good moves. Or even just seeing just some sort of explosiveness on the knee is something. So.
Yeah, so I think the pull-up jumper that still doesn't look great, but the threes he seems like he's improved the percentage a little bit there, and obviously didn't get to the free throw line, which it seems like he did a little bit more last night. That's I think again he's not back. He's definitely not back. He's turning a corner here, so I think that's going to kind of be a key again for the Celtics going forward. We'll see how this goes tonight. Only down 5 at the moment. Hopefully they're able to come back here against Atlanta because otherwise you're getting kind of right back where you were on Sunday. But we'll see how that goes. I did want to briefly touch on the East standings right now because, again, kind of like we were mentioning before, with the Celtics kind of being just over 500, you talk about how you might slip out of the playoffs there. But again, as it stands right now, Philly's 18-10 to top the conference. But then you're talking again, Brooklyn and Milwaukee with 12 losses apiece, and the Celtics have just 13. So well within striking distance if they can get on a bit of a run here. If Milwaukee's on a losing streak, I think they've lost 4 in a row now. Brooklyn's kind of going the other way. They've won 4 in a row, but still not too far ahead of the Celtics here. Harden led a great charge the other night by himself because Katie and Kyrie were out. So, again, we've seen that before out of Harden. I think it's really more when they're all 3 of them on the court. We've obviously seen a lot of cohesiveness in the offensive end. Defense has clearly picked it up at least a little bit. But, again, that could fall apart at any moment. The Celtics have proven they can beat Philly in the playoffs. Milwaukee, who knows kind of what's going on there this year. So the East is open, is I guess what I'm saying. If Brooklyn's on, they're going to be unstoppable. But are they going to be on the whole time?
Yeah, and I did see a tweet that they've only played like I think 7 games together. Granted, their record is 5-2, but I saw someone very much worrying about if like they're just gonna be taking turns taking nights off. Like, is it going to turn into what happened to the Clippers last year when Leonard and George and just not load management? You couldn't really find complete rhythm at all, especially in the playoffs when you had a bubble Jamal Murray going off.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. With I think to go back to the Celtics real quick is. They haven't a lot of minutes with their starting 5. Kemba was hard to start the year. Then Tatum and COVID. Now Smart's out. So kind of getting all these guys together. But yeah, I think you bring up a good point there. Kind of getting them all cohesive. Like we all know that they can, or at least maybe not Kyrie because he struggled with being the alpha sometimes. But we know that Durant and Harden can carry a team by themselves. That's not something I think that's a question. Is how are they going to work together? Again, so far so good for them, at least from an offensive standpoint, and as their record would indicate. But can they keep it together on the defensive end?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then Milwaukee, I feel like they need to be up early because I think I heard a stat that they're 0-9 this year when they're trailing.
trailing going into the fourth. Yeah.
So they haven't really shown the resilience, and I feel like that's been the same since the shutdown last year.
Yeah. But yeah, so again, East. Then I kind of want to get to the bottom half. This is where things get interesting. I think we all expected Indiana at the 5. Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the New York Knicks sit in the 6th spot right now. So again, under 500, but yeah, Randall, and that's the thing too. We're gonna get to our All-Star starter picks. That's kind of what we're getting to next. And we'll have the take on what I'm looking for. The reserves kind of once the starters get announced, and then kind of right before the reserve announcement, we'll make those as well. And Randall has been fantastic this year, but I'd like to see the Knicks in the playoffs. I think it'd be fun. They're probably gonna get spanked because they'll probably. I guess right now they're playing Milwaukee, which isn't terrible, but I do anticipate Toronto passing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think no matter if it's 2-7, even 1-8, 3-6.
Battle of New York.
I think it's just gonna end up being the battle of New York, and you're just gonna see talent take over. Maybe Julius Randle can go off for 40 at the Garden.
That might actually be more mean than them missing the playoffs. Because again, the Knicks are supposed to be this destination for guys, and now that the Nets made that come true, obviously. So, a little bit different there as far as that goes. And then Charlotte kind of sitting in the 8th spot now. But again, there's a lot of teams kind of stuck there at the bottom half there because you have, Chicago's a game back. Miami and Atlanta are a game and a half out of the 8th spot. And then also, is this year, are they doing those play-in?
I think so.
Tournaments? So yeah, all those teams could definitely be in the mix there. Whereas the West is a little bit more stacked.
Yeah, well, going back to Charlotte, they played pretty well lately. I think they won. For a team that's under 500, winning 3 of 5 is pretty good. And I don't know. Those ex-Celtics, Rozier and Hayward.
Yeah, the Rozier, Hayward, Melo, Devontae Graham. They had pretty good young core.
Yeah, Graham's having a tough year, I think.
He has. Again, I got a fantasy owner. I can tell you that. I thought I got him at value, and he's been kind of struggling.
But the only 2 teams I can seem like I feel like 11 and 15 is like kind of like I don't think the Bulls are going to be back in the playoffs. The only team I can see maybe going up are Miami or Atlanta. Or Atlanta,
but
if they can get their
and I still think Atlanta might just be still a little too young. Yeah, looking at it now, I do think Miami might sneak in, but even if that's the case, you're talking of New York or Charlotte making the playoffs. I think they're gonna, we're gonna have Orlando swapped out from last year's group of teams. So we'll keep an eye on that going forward. And kind of as I mentioned beforehand, again, like the West, obviously Utah, Lakers and Clippers at top there. Everyone else kind of in the middle there. Portland, Phoenix, San Antonio, Denver, and Golden State rounding out the top 8. But I did want to briefly talk about, again, they're announcing the All-Star starters tomorrow. And obviously this is fan voting, which I kind of hate. I wish there was a portion of it because sometimes
I love the guy, but Alex Caruso shouldn't be on the graphic for All-Star guards.
It's insane. It's kind of funny, but again, I think if it were 25% of the vote, even 50% of the vote, if we're going to go that high, sure, whatever, do whatever you want. Everything will kind of check and balance itself out. But because right now, I guess I kind of wanted to go in. So what are your picks for the East right now? So 2 guards and 3 front court.
Well, just
I'll have you lead with that, and then I'll go.
Start with guards.
You go first in the East. I'll go first in West.
Okay. I think the guards, you got to go. I think he's finally deserves it. I'd say Brad Beal.
Yes, I agree with that.
And then
second guard.
It makes it tough because I'd say if he was there the entire year, I would go Harden. But Brown?
I'm probably a homer, but I think Jaylen Brown. He's been fantastic this year. I actually the whole Brooklyn thing, I don't get because again, Kyrie missed all that time. That Harden didn't get there until partway through the season. So they'll probably both make it. But as far as the starter goes, I didn't have either one of them. I think there's a couple other guys you could consider there, maybe Trae Young or Zach LaVine, but I think it should be Beal and Brown from, again, a very biased point of view. But
I definitely think Beal has probably been the best, especially with the whole him getting snubbed last year and then gets going to end up being starter this year.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd say I'd hope Harden over Irving just because like he's been there and played kind of every game, and he's
Yeah.
like I said last night he was insane. Where Irving kind of just left the team for a couple weeks. So
Yeah, yeah. So it's just tough. I mean, it's already been kind of a weird year.
hmm
But yeah, he just missed a lot of time there. So I think it's tough to pencil him in as a starter. There's probably what's going to happen because again, it's fan voting, and I think it was Beal and Irving kind of leading the way
yeah,
last time they
that's
tallied the
like
votes.
instead of opening up all the stats right now because I haven't prepped too much for this. I'm just looking at like the top 10 of each thing, fan voting, and it's like okay, like,
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
think
Yeah,
that's
that's
at
what I
least
was
like
doing.
that group of 40 players, like 39, not including Caruso.
Yeah, and then up at the front court.
I think the top three in the voting is pretty much locked in.
Hmm.
I
I
think,
definitely voted for Tatum, but just to kind of get him up there. But
and
I agree.
I think the guy that's at three should be the number one guy in the front court with Embiid.
Embiid, yeah, Embiid, I think Embiid's playing MVP level play this year. So the top
So
three that being
Embiid,
Embiid.
Giannis Durant.
Yeah, even though Durant's missed time, I think he's been that good. So
Yeah,
I agree that's the top three. So
yeah.
I think
I think the front court voting right now is Durant, Giannis, Embiid. I feel like I'd switch 3 and 1, keep Giannis at 2.
yeah, I mean that's again just kind of you know whatever at this point. I mean
Yeah.
it's only the top three start obviously. So I think our picks versus predictions are only one player off. I think
Mhm.
our picks are Beal, Brown, then Giannis, KD, and Embiid, and we're probably gonna have to swap out Kyrie for
Yeah.
Tatum. Um, and then out west, I guess I'll kind of lead the way here, and I think the only controversy is at the guard spot. I think we have three guys for two spots,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna probably be a little biased because he's my guy. I think Steph Curry obviously first has deserved that number one spot, but at the two spot, I'm going with my guy Dame Lillard. Slight edge over Luca there. So that's kind of what I have at the guard spots. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, Steph, I feel like has been the guy out there in Golden State this year, and it's definitely having a. I don't think, I don't think he will, but like returning to his MVP form. I guess is a better way to put it.
Yeah.
So I think he's the clear cut number one guy, and then I think Dame, especially lately with McCollum's been out for a while, and they've been
Mhm.
kind of keeping afloat out there. I'm not sure like they have been doing too hot, but they're keeping afloat undermanned.
Nice. Alley oop there coming up for you, Mike. But yeah, so I agree. And I think not that a record should mean everything, but because again, that's kind of what happened to Brad Beal last year. He kind of
Mm-hmm.
got screwed on that one. But I think if you're that close, maybe the tiebreaker, the Blazers are obviously in a much better spot than the Mavs are right now. And obviously Luke is the best player, so that kind of does fall on him a little bit. Again, he still had a fantastic year and
Mm-hmm.
is obviously going to make the squad, but I do think Dame had a slight edge there. And then kind of also the same thing as the East in the front court. I think that's pretty chalk 1, 2, 3. I think we're going to see Jokic, LeBron, and Kawhi running out the front court over there, and I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I was like maybe. Yeah, no, yeah, I think it's good. I was gonna say maybe. I was maybe Davis, but I don't know. I feel like Kawhi is definitely.
Yeah, and he's missed some time too. So
Yeah.
again, I think those will all be true. The only thing I could see is Luca over Dame. So
Mm-hmm.
for what actually happens. But
Yeah.
okay. All right, yeah. Again, I think that's kind of what we expect. I think it'll be a lot juicier once we get to once we get that gets finalized, then it's the reserves, because I think that's where you really get into some tough decisions where there's a lot of guys for not that many spots. Did they spend it? Is it 12 or 13? I can never remember. I think it used to be 12, and then they had the weird
I
Dwayne
think
Wade Nowitzki year, and then I don't know.
yeah, I think it's 12.
Okay. Well, yeah. So a lot of guys for 7 spots at that point, especially if Harden gets thrown in there, and then the two Celtics, then Randall, Trey. It's a lot of guys for not a lot of spots. So yeah, we'll definitely see some snubs. Unless there's
Yeah, I wouldn't be
something.
shocked if Miami gets a cold shoulder.
Yeah, I agree because Butler hasn't been great. Bam hasn't been great.
Well,
I agree. I think
they're
especially how
five,
tough
six
it's
in
been.
voting, but I think like Sabonis and Randall
He's
have
been
better
better
7,
than both
8,
of
and I
them.
think
Yeah,
they've been better.
agreed. And we talked about Randall in the front court. Yeah, I think. Yeah, we're gonna see some stumps this year, and like you said, Miami might go 0 this year. But all right, awesome. So again, we'll keep an eye on that. See the results tomorrow night, and then we'll kind of take the reserves from there. Make some predictions once we get closer to that announcement. And again, now I want to shift a little bit back to the NFL. So we led the way with basketball. Obviously, had that breaking news that came from the MLB with Tatis Jr. But I kind of wanted to do this little activity, and I know I kind of teased the last few weeks, but I want to get ahead on it before some of the chips start to fall here, because this really could be an unprecedented offseason for quarterback movement. So I kind of wanted to quickly go down the list. We're going to give it a yes, no, and a maybe here. So let's get right into it, and then we'll wrap up with a little bit other news here. So we're going to go team by team, Mike, and we're going to decide do they have their quarterback for 2021? Yes, no, or maybe. So we're going to go in order from division here. Buffalo, yes.
Yes.
They have their guy. Miami, maybe? Or are they pretty much yes? Would you say yes at this point?
I'm going to go yes.
All right. This is
okay
a group effort. I'll go with you on that. I don't think they're going to be the team to pull the trigger on Deshaun. New England, I'm going to say no.
No.
It might be Cam, but I'm still going to say no. It's definitely not a yes. So
yeah.
And then the Jets, maybe?
Maybe.
I'd say maybe because they could very well go with Arnold.
I think they're pretty losing on the Watson front. But I feel like it's either going to be I think it's down to two people, where I think it's going to be either
it's Darnold or Wilson.
Darnold or Wilson, yes, correct.
Yeah, I agree, because I just think, I don't know, you just spent a top pick at a quarterback 3 years ago. Darnold hasn't been terrible. I mean, if you think Wilson's the guy, you got to go for him, but I don't know. I wouldn't hate giving another weapon there. Maybe you go Penei Sewell, like I said, give Darnold, here's your pocket. You have Becton, you have Sewell. Get another weapon, something like that. I think there's a lot of different ways you can go. Maybe trade down, get some more picks. Someone who wants to go up and get Wilson, even if you're only going down a few picks, and get your guy. Maybe if you're only going down to 4, maybe Atlanta wants to move up. You can get another pick.
I would definitely try to shop the pick around the NFC South.
Yeah, I don't think you want to drop too far, because again, especially if you're targeting a guy like Sewell, I don't think you want him to get to Cincinnati at 5. Mm-hmm. So I don't think you'd want to move down too far.
Yeah, I mean, even trade.
That's true. I mean, you can get a weak offensive weapon.
Yeah, like even if you like Waddle or something, like.
Yeah,
you can, or even trade down to 8 to trade up to, like, even if you want the receiver and like you don't care if it's Chase or Smith, if you want to
exactly
trade down to trade up. So
all right, so we're gonna give a maybe for the Jets. Pittsburgh, this is a tough one. I don't know. This is probably all depending on Ben, because I would say I almost think yes.
I'm gonna say yes. I think this is the last rodeo.
Okay. I think we could just write a whole yes for the AFC North.
Yeah, because even if Burrow's not the guy to start, he's
the guy though. It's injury that doesn't really count. So I'm just writing yes down the board here. Tennessee, yes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more yeses than I thought. I mean, we just haven't kind of done some juicy teams here. Colts, no, they just don't. Yeah, because I love Brissett. I don't think he's going to be the next guy there. So he's the only one really on the roster with Phil Rivers retiring. And
I would be shocked if they try to move him.
Who's that?
Brisket.
Yeah. Houston's a maybe.
I'm going to go no.
You just think no?
Yeah, I think that. When's the last time the player hasn't gotten what they wanted? Because even if they don't trade him, he says he might not show up.
I think we got to go maybe. Just because. I don't know. We've seen it with like even Harden. He started the year on the team. Like, I mean, it's a completely different sport, but it's just, again, I don't think he's going to be there for 15 years. But I mean, who's to say it's this year? So I'm going to override you there, Mike. I'm saying maybe. I'm counting the Jags as a yes
because they know it's going to be long.
They don't have them yet, but they're going to have them. So
they know what they're doing.
Yes. Kansas City's a yes. Vegas, maybe. Or do we say yes because they're going to have one of these guys back?
Yes.
You think it's just a yes? Okay.
I
agree. I think it's going to be Carr. Chargers are a yes. Denver's a no.
No.
Right? I just think straight up no. I don't think they come back with Locke.
Oh, even if they do, like, I don't think it's going to be their first option.
Yeah. So do we go no or maybe?
Maybe.
We'll write maybe. They have thrown their hat in the ring in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, and again, that report, I think we were talking about it on the last show, that Deshaun wants either Denver or San Francisco. They're kind of his top two options. So Denver throwing their hat in the ring, that could potentially lead Deshaun heading out to the Mile High City there. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I think the NFC is where we get a little bit more interesting because I'm staring at the NFC East here, and I think there's only one yes, and that's Danny Dimes. And even then, I mean that's very short term, but I think it's pretty solidified there. But if you look at the other teams, Washington, I don't even know if that's a maybe. That just might straight up be a no because I don't think Smith will come back, and I don't. Kyle Allen seems like he's going to be out a while, so I think that might just be straight up a no. I go they have Heineke. Do we go maybe?
Can we pull out a question mark? Because I just have so much mediocrity there.
We're gonna go maybe, yeah. I'm going Dallas maybe. That's a tough situation there.
I think it's going to be yes.
I'm just gonna write maybe because nothing's set in stone. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these are predictions, but like if they don't have them under contract right now, correct? Mm-hmm. So I think that's a maybe. I think Philly's a maybe. I think Philly's a maybe. It sounds like even if they get a win straight done, they'll go with Carson or they'll go with Jalen Hurts rather. But I don't think that's set in stone.
Like they're probably bringing that vet for that.
Yeah, so I think that's a maybe there. Green Bay, that's a yes. We heard talk about Rodgers early on, but that's a yes. Minnesota, I think yes, but has the Cousins to San Fran thing kind of died out, or?
I think it's just so many rumors at this point.
Sidebar: the Celtics cannot get away here. No, they can't. They can't stop. So you said yes.
Mm-hmm.
Bears, is that just a no?
No, that's a no.
Detroit, yes, for now, right?
Yeah, they'll stick with top for this year.
New Orleans, maybe. If they bring Jameis back,
I think they're going to roll with the two of them.
Him and Hill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to go yes there. For 1 year, like.
Yo, Mike, I'll give you that. I'll give you yes because I agree. I don't think they're going outside the organization to bring in a starter right now. Tampa Bay, that's a yes. Carolina, I think that's just a no.
That's a no.
I don't think they're keeping Bridgewater as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta, maybe because again they have a top 4 pick, so they could definitely shop Ryan. We're gonna write maybe there. Seattle, here's the top. I'm gonna write yes for 2021, but I think that's something we got to keep an eye on there. And then the Rams, yes, they have the guy in Stafford, Kyler in Arizona, and then the last one, San Francisco. I think that's a maybe.
It's a maybe, but every day that passes, I think it's going to be more and more like a yes with them holding on to Jimmy G.
Yeah. So, all right. So we've gone through the league now. I'm seeing. Let's see. Kind of the maybes first. We actually had a lot more yeses than I thought. Maybe how the last few weeks have proceeded. That's a little different because I think Detroit and LA might have been more maybes, obviously before the trade went down. But I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 maybes. We don't have a lot of no's. We only have I think 4 no's at the moment. So that's still 20 teams that are set.
I think that's about right.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, we'll obviously keep an eye on the situation.
A couple of those maybes, I think. There's definitely discussion. Put it yes. So I think it might be closer to 10 teams having new quarterbacks next year.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I put the Jags as a yes. That's kind of a cheap because they don't have their quarterback right now. But again, that's going to be Trevor Lawrence. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, that'll be a fun little exercise to go through. I think we could see some more movement with guys like Watson. You got to think the Rodgers news died out. I think Cousins died out. So maybe this exercise is a little behind. But again, we were kind of in the playoffs earlier on. But we'll just kind of keep an eye on this here. I thought it'd be a fun little thing to do for football. Only other notes I had, I kind of mentioned the Broncos being in on Deshaun. There's also rumors of the Panthers maybe shopping McCaffrey for Deshaun. I don't know. It's one of those weird things because McCaffrey's such a dynamic player, and everyone's just like, no, why would you ever do that? Because again, he's running back, just had an injury, has a big contract, so it would be attached to a lot of picks, obviously there, but it doesn't seem like Houston would be too interested in that, especially coming off the David Johnson trade a year ago.
Yeah, I feel like I might have to get a separate deal on for that because that'll be a lot of money on just the backfield.
Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, I don't think you're giving away Christian McCaffrey at this juncture in his career, like you're saying.
right.
You
But
might not get like a lot of value for it, but
yeah,
I don't know.
of course.
Maybe a team like the Cardinals, because I know Kenyon Drake's a free agent, and they still
Yeah.
have a Kyler on his rookie deal, and he was the first overall pick, so it's more expensive than a rookie Russell Wilson deal when they're able to pay their defense highly, but
Wait, maybe the Cardinals what? I'm sorry.
could acquire him because they can afford the next like couple years of Christian McCaffrey.
Oh. Oh, like as just a separate trade from McCaffrey. I think we're talking about. I'm like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about Watson here? They don't. They're a team that doesn't need a quarterback. Yeah. I mean, if that was just like a separate deal, yeah, I think that could definitely work because that's something they've kind of been missing here. But yeah, again, like I said, and the Broncos are rumored as well. I do think at the end of the day, it seems like at this juncture, it's going to be either Denver or San Fran that ends up pulling the trigger if this does get done. I mean, maybe it's a team or not. That's not one of those teams that kind of really puts their
The
money on the
mystery
table
team.
with the yeah, exactly. Or maybe it is like the Jets or Dolphins with that kind of just offering a king's ransom for the to get to acquire him there. But we'll have to keep an eye on that going forward. I think the only other news I had is again JJ Watt, obviously a free agent, tweeted today that free agency is quote wild, and I knew dark horse maybe that we didn't mention the last week's or the last episode was he seems to be very interested in Cleveland, and I actually wouldn't hate seeing that.
I mean, two edges of the line with Garrett and him. He's
Yeah,
deadly,
yeah,
and then playing his brothers twice a year. I feel like
twice a year. Yeah, exactly.
he'd
So
rather be the competitive guy rather than the joint forces with his brothers, just to like similar rivalry
exactly,
type deal. And
exactly. So
the Browns aren't the dumpster fire they have been.
no playoff team made it to the division round last year, put up a good fight against Kansas City. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential there, and could definitely be a viable option for Watt. But again, that's another thing we're just gonna have to keep our eye on. It's probably gonna break randomly on some, in the coming days or even coming weeks. Who knows how long he'll take to make that decision. But again, a lot of teams still.
League here doesn't open until mid March, so
That's true too. But no, but he's I don't think it's like I think he could agree to a deal because he's just unrestricted free agent right now. So. Yeah. Again, things have slowed down a little bit for the NFL. So again, we obviously have the draft coming up, and like you said, once that league year starts, we'll see more with free agency. But we'll keep an eye on this QB carousel, see if Deshaun moves anywhere, see what the Niners do. Because it sounds like if they don't get Deshaun, they're going to roll with Jimmy G. It doesn't seem like they'll go. All right. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this upcoming weekend for hockey. Again, we kind of covered, we had that baseball break. We covered some NBA, NFL. Bruins have played in a few days. Again, a lot of COVID cancellations here. They resume Thursday against the Devils, and then a big weekend coming up in Lake Tahoe, which I want to talk about in a second. But the Maple Leafs are at it again, Mike, as you let me know on Monday. They kind of channeled their inner 2013 selves on Monday.
Yeah, sorry, cut off a bit, but yes, I kind of got the gist of it. Yes, so
Did you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got you. So the 11, so we're going to the game. The 11, 12, and 2 Maple Leafs were hosting the 3, 12, and 1 Ottawa Senators. And then with 1 minute left in the second period, Austin Matthews banks in a power play goal, his 13th of the year, to go up 5-1. And I believe that was a 5-on-3 because they were still on the power play. And with 9 seconds left, the Senators score a shorthanded goal to make it 5-2. And then, oh boy, right away,
third period happened.
Right away, 41 seconds in, 5-3. 6 minutes in, 5-4. And then with 2 minutes left, the equalizer to make it 5-5. And then a breakaway goal to blow the lead. And boy, did the internet have fun with that.
Yeah, I'm sure hockey Twitter had a field day on that one. So, yeah, I mean, again, we saw it in 2013 with Reimer kind of collapsing in Game 7 up here in Boston. So, a little bit of a flashback. Obviously, a much different team than 8 years ago, but still funny. It's funny to see in those games. You gotta get crazy. 5-1's pretty bad in hockey because how tough it is to score and kind of just relinquishing 4 straight goals in regulation and the one in overtime. Yeah, tough to say. But yeah, going to Lake Tahoe is actually really cool. The setup looks great out there in Nevada, and again, should be very exciting. So we have 2 games coming up on the weekend. We have the Knights and Avalanche on Saturday, and then the Flyers and Bruins on Sunday afternoon. So again, pretty good slate there as far as the games go, and should be a really cool experience. You know, the Winter Classics is great. Whenever the Bruins play, that's always been a good time. You know, one at Fenway, one at Gillette. It's just something different, outdoor hockey. I think it kind of has a different feel to it, especially in the regular season. There's so many games where you don't get up like you in the playoffs, but there's something different about these outdoor regular season games.
Yeah, especially this one's going to be amazing too because it's like kind of brings you back to pond hockey as a kid. Like it's not like it's like
Yeah,
like the stadium series was before. You see like back in the big
yeah,
house,
that's true.
back in like Fenway Park, but this is just going to be
Yeah,
like on a river. It looks like on a frozen river.
that's
Like
really cool. Having that in the
this is a
backyard is
great
awesome.
idea marketing wise by the NHL because like now it's just like okay, it's basically the players, staff, and like guys like maintaining the ice and
Yeah,
TV crew, of course. But
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
very much looking forward to these 2 games, especially because both 3 p.m. puck drops, so it's gonna be like kind
yeah,
of
yeah. Good matinee there. Yeah,
good visual to watch.
for sure. So yeah, that'll be fun. We'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll probably have another edition before those kick off there. But yeah, it should be a really cool weekend for the NHL, and I think that should be awesome.
I guess one little note I wanted to add would be
Mm-hmm.
taking a look at the Central Division. There's of course no shockers with Tampa Bay being 10-3-1 up at the top, and Carolina 10-3-1 also, but because the 2 teams in shadow would be the Florida Panthers at 10-2-2, so technically in first right now, one point
Okay.
above. And then granted all the 3 teams I mentioned all played only 14 games, and the team in fourth right now has played 17. But how about those Blackhawks?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone thought they were gonna be terrible this year, especially their first 2 games off the bat. I think they were in Tampa, and I think they lost
Mm-hmm.
like by a combined like 8 goals in those two
Yeah.
games, and
Yeah.
they looked pretty rough. But they've bounced back. They're 8-5-4, 20 points, and even looking below them, I'd say Columbus also has 17 games, and they're 2 up on them. And then at the bottom, you see Detroit and Nashville at 17 and 15 at like 12 and 11. So there's a decent gap there. I think the only team you should probably worry about is the Stars. They're 6 points behind,
Mm-hmm.
but they've only played 12. So that's the only team I keep out. But they're looking like a playoff team when everyone thought they'd be
Yeah.
a bottom 5 team. I mean, they've kind of beaten up on the Red Wings lately, but
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, you still have two top tier guys there, obviously, but trying to return to the glory days of the early teens when they won those 3 cups, obviously, and kind of like in a lot of other sports, they couldn't
well,
pay everyone. You had to pick and choose, and obviously there's been a bit of a downturn in the last couple of years.
one sec, just want to stat check something on you. Okay, well,
Great radio.
see, I couldn't tell if Tage was still there, but because I think he might be out this year.
Oh, okay. I just knew he didn't go to another team. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I would remember if he did that. So yeah, it's funny because
yeah.
you
I
lose
just
track
wanted
of.
to get the exact story. He'll be out and definitely recovering from disclosed illness.
Yeah.
But they
So
still
well,
got
at least you got Kane leading the way.
yeah, Kane. He has 22 points, 15 assists, and he still got
Nice.
Duncan Keith in the back end.
I do love him. He was one of the best defenders back, like I said, in those early to mid teens there. And he's been a force there for years.
Yeah,
So
I believe this guy Lankinen is their goalie, but seems to be splitting time
okay,
with
yeah.
the former Bruin Malcolm Subban.
Oh wow, yeah. Remember when he was supposed to be the next big thing in Boston, but
2-1
yeah.
and
So
1.
again,
She can't let the
yeah,
other goalie.
again, just
She can't get the third goalie play. He's 0-2, giving up 5 goals a game. So
but yeah,
yeah,
again, another one of those sports where we're just kind of seeing it really get impacted by COVID, and it's just tough to get a real rhythm there. But hopefully, the season goes on. We get this vaccine rolled out. Hopefully, we'll have less and less of those going
and
forward.
then
But yeah, I'm very excited for Lake Talk this week.
yeah.
Sorry, Mike. Would you?
And one last note is because they're playing series, the Maple Leafs and Thunders are playing again. The Maple Leafs are up 2-1 with 5 minutes left, and the Blackhawks are up 1-0 on the Red Wings just at the beginning of the third period. So, a little hockey note.
Nice.
So.
Awesome. Yeah, so I just want to finish up with some college hoops here. Again, kind of like I was saying with NHL, just a lot of cancellations. It seems like any big game, any major game with the top team is kind of getting canceled. So we're missing out on a lot of marquee matchups here. I'm happy that Illinois is back this year. Obviously, I think they're number 5 right now. It takes me back to the first bracket ever filled out. I think Mike, you and I made it to the championship game with Illinois and UNC, and we
Sean
were
May,
kind of
baby.
winner take all. I was all in on D Brown and Luther Head and Darren Williams back there, but obviously came up short, and you won that one. So I'm excited to see Illinois back. I think they've always been kind of down since that time, but
Yeah, they got some. They're two big guys. Coffee Coburn. I know his spelling might be.
Oh, is that actually not how it's pronounced?
It's Coburn.
Okay.
And then Ayu Tsumu, who's there. I think they're leading scoring average is 21 points a game. Great closer. I think John Rothstein likes to say he closed out the game very well, but it's a pretty good two-headed monster at the top. Yeah, Coburn with a nice 17-10 average. So gotta love the Big Ten. They're 3, 4, and 5 right now, with Michigan and Ohio State at 3 and 4. They've kind of separated from Illinois, where like I think before we were saying the two best teams are Gonzaga and Baylor, which I do still think's the case, but you're starting to see some separation with
Big Ten right there,
with the 1 seeds at 3 and 4, with Michigan with a nice comeback victory in Wisconsin on Sunday. But this upcoming Sunday, I believe, yes, a 1 p.m. tip on CBS is 3 versus 4, Michigan at Ohio State. So I know we'll have another recording between now and then. So, but just a little sneak preview at that.
Absolutely. Just a few notes again we have there, kind of amongst all these cancellations. Projected NBA pick Jalen Johnson at Duke, he opted out. So I know there's kind of a lot of controversy there. About kind of how that went down, and I don't know, you got to see both sides of it, because again, I think I get the whole quitting on your team idea there, but also just like, again, this kid's 18, 19 years old, and he has millions of dollars in front of him. He has a team that I think if Duke was in it, he'd want to win a championship there, but that's clearly not going to happen this year. So again, do you risk tearing your ACL and losing out on millions of dollars that changes like your entire life? I kind of see it, and especially I think if you're a teammate too, you have to see it that way. And again, it's such an unprecedented situation, because Duke never really finds himself in this situation when they're not going to make the tournament. So I don't know. I personally don't have a huge problem with it. Again, I think it'd be different if he kind of pulled out of a 20-5 team or something like that that had championship aspirations.
Yeah, I definitely say it's basically the equivalent of a guy not playing in I think like Christian McCaffrey. So at the Sun Bowl, I think Fournette's out his bowl when they're 9-3. So it's it's kind of like the same thing. Like the writing's on the wall for this Duke team. So again, you see the whole I believe the former Celtic Isaiah Thomas was kind of saying you're giving up your team, man. What are you doing? But I feel like
I do get that sentiment.
I get it, but I think the COVID year and the team's not doing too well, and I think there's a lot of excuse, whatever. You kind of just consider this year a wash and go in, go get your money.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
And it's funny because we just get to laugh at Duke.
Yeah, exactly. Coach K will probably have some back issue or something that he's.
I think they're saying. I think Peter's saying it's oh no, he's going to come out and say it was his idea.
Oh, I wouldn't hate that take. You kind of set him free, if you will.
Yeah, it was oh no, I think it was at a point where I sat down with him and had a conversation. And I kind of put the idea in his head. Yeah, because we're about making a good future, whether it's getting a degree or performing in the NBA. So.
Well, he's not going to get degrees. He's leaving after a year.
Well, anyway. But depends on the person.
Right. I'm trying to stay restrained here. I'm about to punch my TV because the Celtics they're losing to the Hawks by 9 points, and they just can't win 2 in a row or something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, well, I was talking, and again, I'm watching my room on the NBC feed, so I'm a couple minutes behind. So I see you're starting to shake your head, and I see Robert Williams get it to a 4-point game, and I'm like.
Yeah. So
aren't kind of what's happening? What's happening? So, it's trade 3 and then just for the timeout. So
yeah. So one fun on college basketball. I'm gonna keep it pretty local. I think you texted me this the other day when it happened. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Jim Christian is no longer. He's been relieved of his duties as the BC basketball coach, and this program is about down far as you can possibly be. A team that growing up made the tournament pretty much every year. 2 years in a row, they got a 4 seed. He made it to the Sweet 16 once, and
almost beat number 1 seed Villanova.
They did. That was
Craig Smith days.
Exactly. They would have gone on to face Villanova. I mean, they played Villanova. They would have gone on to face Florida, I think the next round, the you know they
Probably would
ended
have
up
lost,
being the
but
champs that
cool.
year. Yeah, but I mean, it would have been nice to play against Joakim Al Horford, Corey Brewer, and those guys. But the program's just been so down. I just find it strange, and again, COVID might have played into this at least extra year here. But Steve Donahue, the guy that came in kind of when I started college, obviously didn't quite live up to what he thought he was going to be. He seemed to have a shorter leash than Jim Christian did, and he seemed like he put the
Yeah,
team
a
together a
couple
little better.
years, like
Yeah, they were about
when they're
500 my sophomore year. I
yeah
was
they're
completely
yeah
starting over.
yeah they're a young team that was full of like mainly freshmen and a couple
Yeah.
sophomores. And they were in a 500, so I think it was the year after when it was like, okay, it's finally time for them to like
Take
be
the
a
leap,
bubble
and
team.
they
Yeah,
didn't.
be a bubble team. They didn't. So like I guess like maybe because he was showed promise.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. And
And
then
they're
again,
like,
I
I think I found it weird too because they developed NBA talent. I mean, like they haven't like done too much, but like Robinson and Bowman, like Robinson has a lot of
yeah, they
Bowman
both made the league.
had
Yeah.
played minutes for the Warriors last year. So
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I'm not even saying that it was bad. Just like trust me, I think it was time for a move at the time. But then one, I don't know if Christian was the right fit, and two, I just don't know how he got uh, such a long leash. Again, I was a senior. I graduated 6 years ago, so he's here for 7 years, and just like again, just did not put up a good record at all. And
and he's like
I
not
don't know.
even
They
he's not
they
even
really got to make a
containing.
move here.
He's not even containing COVID well either. Like they missed a bunch of games earlier, and then
Yeah. Well, I mean that could happen. I mean, I try not to be
no,
too hard on
no,
guys
but the
there.
second up, they had a second outbreak.
Oh, that was them. I saw they kept getting games canceled, but I didn't know if it
That's
was them or
them.
the other team.
Well, granted, I think it was Tabs on your team, Winston Tabs.
Winston
I think
Tabs,
he
yeah.
like very much broke protocol and got it.
Oh god. Well, yeah, they have
But again,
double
like so I think might have just been like, okay, we're gonna be shut down for weeks. Like, who knows if we're gonna play another game? Like, just go now.
yeah. Oh my god, they're turning the ball over all the time. I'm sorry to keep sidebarring here with the Celtics, but yeah, I'm hoping that they got to make a big splash because this program's down bad.
You can't be taking head coaches from smaller programs more and more.
No, we got them from Ohio. Just like, yeah, you can't. Like you said, you can't be doing that. Again, I'd argue taking a big swing and bringing a guy like Rick Pitino, but obviously there's a lot of baggage there, so maybe that doesn't happen. But
that would be funny.
it would be very interesting. It would definitely put us back on the map a little bit, get some recruits. I think the next best option, probably maybe even a better option, depending on how you look at it, but something that's a little bit more likely is John Beilein. And again, he seemed to took Michigan to the national championship game. What,
Twice, I think.
3 years ago now? I'm
Twice,
getting my years confused.
He was there with Burke, right?
What's that?
He was there, the team that lost to Patino in Louisville, right?
Yes, exactly. So
by Trey Burke.
That's two national championships because they lost to Villanova 3 years ago, or 3 years ago. Because I keep getting confused because we lost the March Madness last year. So, but yeah, so I think he'd be. I've seen some articles linking him to BC, and obviously I think that'd be great if they could make it work because they got to get back on the map.
Yeah, they need someone. I mean, I wonder how much damage that Cavs stint will be for him.
I just think, I
think hopefully
I would never give an NBA job again. But
hopefully it's damaging enough where he's like, okay, let me take the worst power conference program.
Right, exactly. And I mean,
bottom 5 power conference program, like I'd put the same level as like some of the lower Big 12 teams, like Iowa State.
Yeah,
Iowa State has like 2 wins this year.
We've seen it before. Like, I mean, in the NFL, with the guy like Nick Saban, obviously, made a jump, but he goes back to another college. John Calipari, he obviously got to.
I just meant more of the whole like slugs thing.
Yeah, I know, but I just think
it seemed like he had his team behind him in Michigan, and I feel like now it's like people might be like, oh,
right,
okay.
Exactly, and that's one much longer track here.
Yeah,
it's a much longer track record than 4 months with the Cavs or whatever it was. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a potential option. I think you got to go for someone big like that if you're going to make a big change here, or else we're just going to be kind of stuck at the bottom for the next decade. So, we'll see. We'll see how things go there.
I'm just now looking back at that March Madness from a couple years ago. So I had Michigan over Kansas, and the last second I flipped to
that Sweet 16 game.
No, I'm talking about that one stunk too.
Okay.
Because a
few years ago. Sorry.
Because I had Michigan in the final. I had Michigan over Kansas, then I switched to Kansas over Michigan. They both made the Final Four, but Kansas got smoked by Villanova. But I think if I put Michigan one game further, I at least would have came in like a money where I think I would have came in second, got my money back. But because I did that, didn't get any money back. Now, I was big on. I did have Loyola Chicago in the Sweet 16 of my bracket here. That same year, they made the Final Four. So I was very happy about that. It's good to see them back in the map this year at the 22 seed.
Yeah. So they're back. Sister Jean's back, still kicking at 101. Yeah, kicking at 101. So
up by 4 right now with Valpo.
I'm just shaking my head. They don't know how to hold on to the ball. They don't. Every time I look up, someone's dropping it. It's infuriating. But anyway, did want to wrap up the show here. Again, we are looking forward to bracket seasons. I know you kind of talked about past brackets there. Definitely looking forward to some future ones. But did want to wrap up the show. We kind of ending the show with a few RIPs as of late. Unfortunately, we do have another one. Vincent Jackson, former, most notably with the Bucks. I think he spent a little time with the Chargers as well. Found it in his apartment at just age 38. Obviously, way too young, gone way too soon. Really a mainstay in the NFL. I remember kind of growing up in high school and everything. Just he was always a good fantasy target out there, and just put up a real good career in the NFL, and just truly tragic to see him gone this young.
Way too young. I think now the family saying might be CTE involved.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously going to always be discussed. Kind of he said he was kind of dealt with alcoholism as well, so
probably
related. Yeah, exactly. So again, tough to see, and unfortunately, this is something we do see. It's kind of a gamble with that sport. So certainly, thoughts and prayers out to Vincent Jackson's family, and again, just another tough one to see. But I wanted to give him a quick shout out at the end here, but. I think that's it for today's show. It was fun to have that breaking news come in at the beginning there, and
definitely added more MLB meats to the bone.
Yeah, exactly. So we've lots to look forward to here. Again, kind of a lot of things out in front of us here as far as the sports calendar goes. Again, we'll have another edition this weekend and kind of catch up on what's happened in the other sports here. Mostly hockey and basketball, and then kind of the off season for as we get into baseball season, and then
pitchers and catchers.
Pitchers and catchers are there. I try not to get too excited about that because it means that now you have like a month or whatever.
You have 2 weeks until the Red Sox play Northeastern.
Meaningless games happen. Yeah, well, that's not happening this year, but yes, exactly. Usually,
that's what happened to me because I even got I do a work AO only fantasy baseball league, and it's like auction, so it's all like dollar values. So
yeah, exactly.
We got our dollar values this week, and I'm like, so excited for the fantasy season. Like, I can't even make a move in this roster till like a month from now when we do the draft.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, yeah, that'll do it for tonight's show here. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I know I kind of posted last time, but we're on Spotify now. Obviously, I think a lot of people watching YouTube because they want to see our handsome faces here. But if you're on the go and again, don't feel like downloading the whole Podbean link here. We are on Spotify now. Got that set up, so we'll be good to go on there now. But thanks everyone for listening in. Let's see, Mike's just kind of laughing at whatever's happening in the Celtics game right now.
Tatum was doing nothing in a double team, and they just chucked it across the court, semi hit a three.
And Trae Young's hitting everything, and this game's over. So I'm just mad at them all over again, and I don't know what to do.
So you're gonna get
in the middle of the sign off here, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely fully go into the box score in this game, and we're playing again on Friday
to see where it all went wrong. But
so we'll definitely take a deeper dive for this Hawks series.
Yeah,
as we crunch the numbers on this game and watch the game on Friday on the weekend edition.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks everyone again. And
another teaser right there.
See you guys.
All right, later, guys.